We've been using CTCMath for the past couple of years in our homeschool, and as a former math teacher, it's one of my top recommendations to other homeschooling parents. This program is so comprehensive and has so many features and can really work well for any family if you know a few tips and tricks. So I'm going to be sharing a few videos about CTCMath on my channel that I think will help. This one is actually a response to a question from one of you specifically about navigating assessment options in CTCMath. So figuring out how to assess your kids, what the options are, and when you should use them. So if you're a new CTCMath user or curious about some of the features of this program, I hope this video will be helpful to you. If you don't know me, my name is Sarah. I'm a homeschooling mom to 4 kids ages 6, 11, 11, and 13. And as I mentioned earlier, I was a high school math teacher for about 8 years. Now I'm so thankful to be able to be homeschooling my kids, and I love encouraging other homeschool parents on my YouTube channel and on my blog, blessedhomeschool.com. So let's talk today about the options you have in CTCMath to help you determine whether or not your kids are learning the material. That's an important thing to know, right? Day to day, this is kind of done through their actual lessons. Kids will watch a short video covering a specific math concept, and then they'll have interactive, adaptive questions that they'll answer on the computer. They'll get automatically graded as they go, and a nice feature about CTCMath is that the questions will adapt depending on how well they're doing, meaning they'll increase in difficulty as the students show progress. So these interactive questions will give you insight into how well your child understood that particular lesson immediately following. But there are 3 other options you have in CTCMath to check for understanding, and these are diagnostic tests, question banks, and exams. Let's talk about diagnostic tests first. When we first switched to CTCMath, I used the diagnostic test to determine where my kids should start with their lessons. And just so you know, I'm going to be showing you all this from the student side and then some in the parent side as well. So right now though, I'm logged in under a child account that I created to be able to show you this. So if your child is logged in, here's how they could find the diagnostic test for wherever you wanted them to start. So let's say we were in 6th grade and they have these different topics which are broken down even more. And let's click into number 1. Okay, so up here is where the diagnostic tests are. So for this particular section, they could choose either short, standard, or comprehensive questions, okay? And I would have my kids do these, and if they did well, I would have them move on to the next one. And we just did that until I found one where they got to one where they really had no idea what was going on. And it was like, okay, that's where we need to start. There may have been a couple where they just had certain parts of it that they didn't know. And in that case, we went back and we reviewed that particular lesson. But for the most part, that's how I used the diagnostic test when we first switched to CTCMath. So I'm going to click on this short one right here just to kind of show you an example of what the diagnostic test looks like. So we click into here and then I'm going to click Start Questions. So these ones are all online. So let's do 7,288,486. And it'll grade it right away, and then we'll move on to the next question. Okay, let's go ahead and if I want to get one wrong to show you what happens, let's click on this one here and submit. Okay, so it's going to tell me that I got that one wrong, and then it's going to point to the correct answer. So that's going to happen in your diagnostic test. If your kids miss something, it's going to tell them what the right answer is. So in that way, it's not like a true test in the sense that sometimes the kids can figure out how to do the problems based on the correct answer. So if I, see what I did wrong and I can figure out my mistake, if I get another question like this, I might be more likely to get it right. So that's just something to be aware of for the diagnostic test. That might be good or bad depending on how you want to use them. All right, so I'm just going to work through a few of these problems so you can see what happens when you get to the end of a diagnostic test. Okay, so I just finished this diagnostic test, and once you're finished, it will show you this screen and you'll be able to see the questions that were on the test. So it shows me the score, and then it will show me the questions that I got right, and it'll show me the ones that were wrong, and what the correct answer was for those. So what I have my kids do, I'll either have them leave this screen up and then I'll come in with them and kind of go over what they missed. If there is a pattern that I see that they are missing a lot of the same questions, then, like here, don't know the Roman numerals very well, so that might be a lesson that I would go back and review. So often, in addition to using these to place the kids, now I typically do use them as a little test after we finish each lesson to kind of see if there's anything we need to go back and review. So the one thing I will share is that when you're on the screen, if you leave it, you will not be able to see the answers broken down quite like this. So what I always recommend my kids do is they save it as a PDF, or they can, print it out if they want to, but I'll usually have them save it as a PDF and then upload it to our Google Drive in case I'm not ready right then and there to go over it with them, because I want to make sure I have all these available. So it does say once you leave the screen, your result will be saved, but your answers won't be available for printing. So it'll show you this score as a parent, but you won't see the full problems like you do on this screen. So let me log in on the parent side real quick, and I'm going to show you guys exactly how you can assign these. If you don't want your child just going through, they can just go and access the lessons and then access the diagnostic test here. If I wanted them to go to the next one, they would click into it, and again, there's the diagnostic test. But if you actually want to assign it to your child, let me show you how to do that. So this is the parent side of the dashboard, and I'm not going to go over this too in depth right now because there are a couple of different ways you can assign the diagnostic tests. But as a quick look, if you go into tasks and you wanted to assign a new task, you could change the task window, change the title, but right here is where you could add a diagnostic test. So if you wanted to actually assign it to them, so it showed up when they logged in, they see a little bubble and it tells them they have an assignment, you could go in here and you could assign any diagnostic test that you want to. So there is the one that we just completed. And then you would hit save, and then it would show up. Oh, you can also select how many questions you want them to have. And that's how you would assign this from the parent side. So while I'm in here, let's talk really quickly about the second way that you can assess your kids, and that's with a question bank. So question banks are things that you do have to create and then assign them to your kids. These are really great to use if there's an area that your kids are struggling in and need extra practice. So for example, that diagnostic test that I just took, let's say my child is really struggling with Roman numerals. I could have them go back and watch the lesson on Roman numerals. They could do those activities. But if I still wanted extra practice, I could create a question bank for them that they could do to practice that lesson. And this is one thing that I think is great about CTCMath that I haven't really seen anywhere else. They have a huge bank of questions that you can customize, and it is so helpful. I've used this numerous times to really allow my kids to practice something that they are struggling with. So we're still in here under tasks. So I'm going to click over here to question banks. And then I'm going to create a new question bank. I'll actually create one so I can show you what this will look like on the child's end. Let's say I want to call this Roman numerals or Roman numeral practice. Okay, so you're going to select, again, you have access to all grade levels. We'll do 6th grade, numbers, patterns, and algebra. And here it is right up front, number 1. And then we've got Roman numerals lesson here, and then another one here. So I can do as many as I want to. So I'm going to select those two, then hit next. Let's just do a few questions since I'm going to be testing this out for you guys. I don't want to go through too many questions. So we'll do 5 questions, but I mean, you can choose as many questions as you want to. You can choose if you want them easier, evenly distributed, or harder. Let's go easier. I'm really bad at Roman numerals. So then I'm going to click generate questions, and it'll show you the questions that it chose for you. You can group them by difficulty or by lesson. Now, if I go to advanced customization, here are the 2 lessons that I chose. And if I click on one of those, it's going to show me every single question that they have available for that particular lesson. And it's going to also show you, so the ones that it selected, All right, so all the ones that are checked. So if I wanted to change those, let's say I didn't want this one, but I wanted this one, I could change those out. Here is a medium question, and then we have, hard or challenging questions. So these are really great to really be able to customize what is going on this question bank. And it tells you over here how many questions it chose from each of those lessons. So you could add more from there, whatever you want to do. So let's go to next, and then I will click save. Okay, so then this is going to show up. These are all the question banks that I have created. So it's going to show up right here. And then I actually have to assign it to my kids. So I'm going to go back to tasks. I'm going to click new task. And I'm going to assign this to myself, the account that I created to show this to you guys. And then I'm going to do add question bank. Go to the second page. Okay, there it is. Second page I had to go to, but there's my Roman numeral practice. So I'm going to click on that. So you'll see it up here. And let's just go Roman numeral worksheet. Okay, task window, that's fine. And then you've got a couple things here that you can choose as well. And then I'll go to save task. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to log back into my account so you can see what this is going to look like from my end. Okay, so now when I log in, this did say 7 before, but now it says 8. So if I click on my tasks, I have a little bubble that shows me my active assignments. So I can go in here and I see it pop up right here, the Roman numeral worksheet. So I'll click on that and it tells me when it's due. So you can set a due date if you want to. Here it is right here. And then I think you can either click here or start the task. Okay, so let me go ahead and work this out so you guys can see what this looks like. And I have no idea what that is. So we're just going to type in a random number. I'm not even going to try on that one. Okay, so with the question bank, this is why it's great for extra practice, because I got this wrong. They have this up here that says show solution. So if your kids have no idea what they're doing and they need to figure out how they got this wrong, you can click on that and it will show them the full worked out solution. So this is such a handy feature that CTCMath offers. Okay, so it shows that, okay, you've got 100, 20, and then the 6. Okay, I probably could have figured that out. I know that C was 100, but close that out and then we'll go to the next question. Okay, write as Roman numerals. And I just looked at the chart and now I don't remember what 50 is. So we're just going to type in, let's see, well, I know X is 10 and this is going to be wrong, but let's see. Oh, it was an L. Okay. You guys are probably laughing at me right now. Okay, L is 50. Okay, got it. So let's try the next one. Okay, so D was 500, C was 100, so that should be 200. Oh wait, so we've got 700 and that was 50 and 770. Is this right? Okay, finally I got one. Okay, let's see what's next. 767. All right, so I've got the D, C, C. L was 50. Okay, and oh my gosh, finally an easy one. Okay, there we go. All right, so I finished all of the questions there. Now at the end of the question bank, so it's showing me my grade, it's showing me what I got wrong and what I got right. And another great thing is I can see all of the worked out solutions again, okay? So if I needed that extra help, I can only show for incorrect answers to make it a little bit easier. Then if I wanted to, I could print this out. Now let me go back to the parent end and show you guys what this will look like when your kid completes this on your side. Okay, so I'm logged back in here, and what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go to this account, I'm gonna go to Profile and Results. I'll go to Individual Results, and then I can go to Question Banks right here. So this will allow you to see this Roman numeral practice shows you the grade. And then if I click View, it's going to show me the same thing, that entire worksheet and even the worked out solutions if I wanted that. Now I like this much better than with the diagnostic tests. If I go here Let's see. Okay, so this was that diagnostic test that I took. And remember how I told you guys that you really need to save that test at the end if you wanted to see all of those answers? Well, if I click report, this is going to give me a report of that diagnostic test that I took. I cannot see all of the specific questions, but I can see if there are different areas that my kids struggled in the most. So it tells me how many correctly they answered for each section. So this is why I liked using it as kind of a placement test, or even at the end of a section, because it tells me, okay, they really didn't get place value to millions or expanded notation, and maybe we need to go back and review that just a little bit. Or maybe I throw a worksheet together from the question banks and have them practice those one day for their lesson. So much data that you can get from using this. And I should have mentioned, if I go to question banks, if you don't want your child to do it on the computer, let me click back into here. So I can print this out if I want to. So I can print this as a worksheet. If you prefer to have them do it on paper, you can print that out. And I actually will do that sometimes. Another great thing is you can add working out space. So if you need to add more space, like if it was an equation or something that they need to solve, you can do that on there. So what I'll do is I'll usually print out a worksheet for my kids. And then if you click view with answers, I will do this and I will save this as a PDF on my computer so I can pull it back up and just see the answers real quick if I'm going through and grading it, because I need that if they're doing it as a worksheet, because then I don't have all the worked out solutions, but I have the answer key. So the benefit to them doing it online is they're going to have those worked out solutions, and then they can even print those out at the end if they need to. Okay, finally, let's talk about the last way to assess learning, and that is with exams. So you can access it up here, or if you're back on the home screen on the parent side, you can access the exams up here. Now, I haven't used these much myself. I typically have used the diagnostic test and the question banks, but they are an option. They might be best for at the end of a unit or the end of semester or the end of a course, just if you wanted to do a test. I will probably use them more when we get to high school, but for now, since we don't officially keep grades, I haven't used them as much yet. So the process to this is very similar to when you're creating your question bank. So you can either create a new question bank, or you could create a new exam, or you can use an existing question bank as an exam. So let me just show you. I'll create a new one. So we're gonna just keep everything kind of the same so you can see what we've been doing. But let's do an exam over this number 1 section. Then I'll hit next. So again, however many questions you want. We'll do difficulty level, generate the questions. So very similar so far to the question bank. You still have the advanced customization option, everything that you had with the question bank. So we're going to go to settings. Okay, now here is where you're going to assign to your kids. So I'm going to assign it to myself. You can title the exam, so number 1 exam. You can give them a time limit, and then you can give them a reading time if you want. Now, a reading time, this allows kids to read over all the questions before starting the exam. And you can decide whether or not you want to do this. It can be really great if your child has test anxiety. They can kind of look through, see what's coming. They can think about problem-solving strategies. That reading time, in my opinion, it's not really for them to learn something new. It's just to kind of settle the nerves and, make sure that they're prepared for what's on the test. Okay, then you can set the exam window if you want to. So we'll click Save the Exam. And actually, I'm going to change the date because I want it to start now so you guys can see this. Okay, let's log back into my profile. So you saw the exam was live. And if I go back in here, all right, up at the top now, I have a bubble here for exams. So I'll click into this. All right, I've got 5 questions. I have 45 minutes to complete it, and then 5 minutes of reading time. Let's hit Start Exam. All right, so we'll start. And then I have my reading time. So with the reading time, I've got about 5 minutes total, and this is going to show the questions on the exam. So again, just kind of for me as a child. All right, I've been through this, I know all of this stuff, but just making sure there's nothing that's really confusing, kind of easing my nerves before I have to take the exam. So the main thing that's different about the exams versus the diagnostic tests is it is not going to show answers during or immediately after. So your kids are not going to know immediately what they got right or wrong. So let's go ahead. I'm going to do these 5 questions so you can see what it looks like at the end. Okay, so at the very end, they do have a chance to review the exam. So they can go in, and if they need to edit any of their answers, they can click edit and they can go back and change their answer. So that is something that's really great. So if they hit a wrong button accidentally, or just made a mistake, they thought about it later, they can go back and they can fix that. But then whenever they're done, they're going to submit the exam. So then what I'm going to do is I'll go to my parent dashboard, and still on the student side, this shows me what they have recently completed, and you see it says awaiting release of results. So let me go back to the parent dashboard, and so you see there's the exam right up in the front on my dashboard. So if I click into this, it shows me that it was completed, and I can also view student answers in a detailed report. So if I click on this, it will pull up the score. So it shows 100% what the score was. And then if I wanted to see each answer, I can click on a specific number and it will pull up the question and show how they did. So if I had missed any, I think it would be a different color, so you could click on those specifically. I don't like this format as much as if I had like a worksheet or something in front of me, but at least you can still go in and see how your students answered, and if there's anything they needed to have help on. So I know that was probably a lot, but I hope that gave you a good look at 3 different assessment options that CTCMath offers. They are all great choices, and you may choose to use different ones at different times, but I hope this helps you as a parent kind of see what the process is, and maybe it will make it a little bit easier for you. Did you know CTCMath started in just one classroom? It all began when Pat Murray, a young high school math teacher, saw his students struggling and decided to create video lessons to help them. His software developer brother joined the mission, and together they built what would eventually become CTCMath. Today, CTCMath has won multiple awards, and over 13,000 homeschooling families depend on it. It's easy to get overwhelmed by all the options out there for math curriculum. CTCMath is so comprehensive and has so many amazing features, and I truly think it's a wonderful option for almost any family. That's why I recommend it. I hope this video has helped you understand some of the assessment options you have with CTCMath and makes it just a little bit easier to navigate. And if you're still searching for the right fit for your homeschool math curriculum, definitely consider signing up for the free trial they offer. I'll also leave a link below in the description for a special discount that's exclusive to homeschooling families. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up if it was helpful to you. That and subscribing are a couple of really easy and free ways you can support my channel and help me continue making content like this. And drop any question you have about CTCMath in the comments below. I'd love to help you out if I can. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you next time.